Yeah, well, hi, friends. Doc South here, and well, I believe this is Memorial Day. Yeah, and the day where we honor those who serve in the military. And I often myself think it doesn't hurt to, throw in a side thought for anyone that might be in police work, rescue. You get the idea. Anyone that has a relatively dangerous job serving in this world. Firemen, of course. Heavens, you can imagine. A lot of that's all very dangerous as well. And I don't know. I think they ought to be included. Most of them, most firemen, police, rescue. You'll probably find out that they were in the military most likely, for the most part. And but you really, when I think about it, gosh, you got to hand it to these people, like Sandy's dad. Okay, Sandy's actually he and his wife adopted Sandy back in the day, and they were they're good parents. And excuse me, he if I recall right, and he was in the Marines during World War II, and was actually, I think, either boat one or boat two to hit the beach at Guadalcanal. Can you imagine? Oh my gosh! Because the Japanese enemy was all in the bushes, and they were loaded for bear. They had a lot of ammunition and a lot of guys, and well, they were pretty much right up against the wall. So they had to fight or die, and that's pretty much how they saw it. And I know Sandy's dad said in fact, he didn't really like talking about it. I never heard him talk about it, except to say that yeah, he was there, and you you could almost, how should I put it? You could get the feeling just looking at his face. Yeah. My father, I know at times, sometimes, now he was a pilot who flew these airplanes called Corsairs. I often, actually often enough, you would hear him, as much as he loved the airplane and all that, every time, now and then at night, you would hear him hollering. He'd just be in some kind of dream, be hollering for one person or another to pull up, or come on, you can make it, you can, Billy, yeah, and like that. And mom would wake him up and calm him down. But he'd have some pretty bad dreams. And I know people from nowadays, the various conflicts, different friends and relatives who have had a hard time getting back into the group after being in humongous operations. Again, very deadly stuff. It might look good in a movie, but I think when you're actually walking down the trail, and there might be people in those bushes looking for you. It's got to be tough. It's got to be tough, and man, I'll tell you, you just got to hand it to them. I mean, I just don't know how you can. I just don't know how you can. And I'm trying to think. I remember this. This sounds like it's kind of. I don't know if this is much of a story here, but that I can tell you myself. But I remember I was in Air Explorers when I was a teenager. That was teenage Boy Scouts with airplanes. And we'd actually get to go up sometimes, different pilots would take us up, let us handle the controls and stuff. And yeah, it was neat. And we'd go to different, our leaders were very good at getting us to like airplane factories and visiting an airport, maybe touring an Air Force base, that kind of thing. And one time they took us to Picatinny Arsenal, which is here in New Jersey, kind of over near Lake Apacon. I assume it's still, I'm sure it's still running. And it was some kind of day. I don't know if it was Memorial Day or if it was some other Soldiers Day, something where you would honor the military. And they had a big to-do going. It was actually pretty neat. They were show. You could climb in a tank and stuff, and I don't know, you could kind of look over a howitzer and see what's cooking. They were all very nice to us. I guess we were probably 14, 15 years old, maybe a little older, and uh, they had this one thing they did, though, that was really, really intense. They said a demonstration will be held at 2 p.m., which I don't think they said 2 p.m. I think they said 1400 sharp. Be at the main field. Okay, so we and a whole bunch of other folks went, and they showed us where we were not to go beyond. There was like a roped off area. We could stay behind the rope. Don't go beyond the rope. And they said basically what they were going to do, they were going to show what it would be like if you were the enemy. And a whole bunch of soldiers were coming after you from the other side. Yeah. They showed you in other words, what an American attack force would look like coming your way. Okay. And they let loose with a barrage of artillery. This is why we weren't allowed to go beyond the rope. And I'm sure these were fake. I'm hoping they were fake. Underground, buried bombs that, in other words, you could hear the artillery. You could see the smoke from the cannons and such, or the gunnery. And they were letting loose with a barrage, and all this smoke and belching fire out of the ground and stuff was, blah, 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 and it's approaching. It's like they're cleaning up the field with anyone that was dumb enough to be 200 yards beyond the rope. Trust me, you'd be 800 yards going the other way, and it would be definitely time for feet do your stuff. But they had all that, and then all of a sudden you look, and you see the noses of tanks, the muzzles of tanks showing up on the other side of the hill, and all these tanks are coming. Yeah, there's, I don't know, maybe 10 tanks coming down, and they're letting go. You can see there's, I think there's some machine guns that can be installed on a tank. Again, I'm not a tank expert, but you can see the machine guns. You can see the bullets hitting the ground and such, and of course there's shots being fired, and I'm sure they were duds, but where they were going to land, again, they had it timed to have these explosions. And then, I don't know, beyond that, here comes a whole bunch of soldiers, and they're all in full combat gear with bayonets, and they're coming. And there's machine gunners all of a sudden pop up on the side. They're shooting. And I'll tell you the truth, they weren't but about a tenth of a mile away. And if that was the real thing, man, you'd have to be scared. I mean, the thing is, would you be scared and run, or would you stay and fight? Whew, I don't know. It didn't look good for your side with all that was coming. A hasty retreat might be a smart thing to do, but then again, your own men might shoot you at that point. You were in a pickle, and I got to say, I remember looking at that and thinking, oh my God, it's got to be awful to have the enemy, so to speak, coming your way. And I've heard of tales of ambushes in the jungles, in Vietnam. There were people that actually would, I guess the North Vietnamese would have these tunnels, and I knew a guy who would climb into these tunnels looking to get them. What bravery. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is, you see a soldier anytime, it don't hurt to say thank you. Just like you might do to the police or a fireman or rescue, same thing. Although it's a bit more intense, I think, for the soldiers. I'm trying to think, there was one, gosh. Oh, can I think of it fast enough? Maybe not. Mm. I, uh, I guess not. Whatever it was, just kind of went in one ear and out the other. But it's the soldiers really. Oh, I know what it was. My God, Sandy and I visited an aircraft carrier once, and actually, this was one down in the harbor near Charlotte, uh, North Carolina. I think. Am I right? No, maybe not Charlotte. It was down near all the bases at the lower end of North Carolina, where South Carolina and North Carolina meet, and Charleston, South Carolina. There's a harbor there, and you can there's excuse me, on the north side of that harbor. There's a Navy base and a kind of a naval museum, and you can go actually onto a carrier. And in fact, they got one of the planes my father flew right as you walk in, the Corsair, big plane. And but we were walking. Basically, they told us, you got the run of the ship. Just be careful. If you see something where they say don't go, don't go. But other than that, have a ball. And there was this. I said this. I said to the guy, I said, "Hey, I used to work around boilers. You have boiler rooms in this?" He says, "We sure do." He says, and he points to me. He says, "What you do is you go aft about 5 bulkheads or whatever. You'll see steps." He says, and you can just go down those steps. And he says, "Don't use the poles." Evidently, there must have been somewhere if it was really serious, you could take the pole down. I think I might be wrong in that, but I think there was a pole. And I can't imagine that going down 4 or 5, 6, 7 decks. But we eventually got down to the boiler room. Sandy's looking at me. What, you nut? What do you want to see the boilers for? I said, I used to work on boilers. I want to see these. And man, these were some serious boilers. I said, Sandy, look at that. There's the steam drum, superheater. That heats the steam to superheat. Man, you get near that, it'll kill you. Just bang like that if it blows. I said that steam's hundreds of degrees hotter than regular steam and all this stuff. I was going nuts. I was just having the best time climbing all. And they said, yeah, you can climb around the boiler. Yeah, go ahead. I'm looking at this and that. Sandy's going nuts. And I remember going back up. In fact, no, I noticed and they had one of the sailors down there. I said, "What's with this tube with the ladder with the big pipe you climb through?" He says, "Oh, that's in case the ship gets hit and it's sinking, and you finally get orders to abandon your post." He says, "You go up this ladder, and this ladder will protect you from flames in in areas where there might be flames. And other than that, you just keep climbing. You go up," he says, what is it? It's about 7 or 8, again, I might be wrong, 7 or 8 decks to the top. He said, and then you can leave. He says, but you can't leave till they tell you to abandon your post. So water could be coming in. He says, yeah. He says, you got to be careful. And he says, that water hits the boiler. I said, you don't have to tell me. I know what happens. Boom. He says, yep. And it's, and that's just the guy that handles the boiler. The boiler is, and there's many of them on a ship like that, has to be running at full tilt in the middle of a battle. And if it, for some reason, something shakes a loose pipe, man, you're pardon the pun, but you're cooked. It's not good. A lot of this stuff was, it's really eye-opening. And I would suggest you get some stories from the various soldiers, sailors, Air Force, Marines that you know. And just don't egg them on or nothing. Just ask. Just ask what it was like. And you'll get some stories. And you'll see where we definitely got to hand it to these people at least one day a year. Although I say every day of the year. Do what you can if you see a soldier or even police, fire, or rescue. Always give them a pat on the back. It's a good thing to do. Okay? I'll see you later. God bless and ta-ta. You know what? Lord's Prayer month. for our soldiers. I'm sure there's a lot of praying going on, probably on both sides of an argument or of a war. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, the glory forever. So be it. Okay, bye now, friends. God bless our soldiers and those who serve.